Now, today we are supposed to see Anubhuta Vishaya Asampramoshah Smrutihi iti. So, when we look at this, let us not forget that we have been discussing that there are 5 types of vrittis. So, starting with pramana, then comes vikalpa, vipareya, vikalpa, then comes nidra, then finally comes smriti. Now, this smriti, generally known as memory. So, this memory comes in the last. Why does it come? So, if we try to look at first the definition as such, then we will go in details. So, here is said, look, so that is called memory. That what is being perceived, what is being experienced, that appears is called memory. Does not go away, does not slip away. So, in short, sometimes we say that memory is the reflection of experienced object and experience. Is it clear? In fact, the Vyasacharya has started the commentary with a question. So the question comes like this: whether when you say memory, is it related to anubhuta or anubhava? So all these words, okay, I'm playing with it, okay? So is it related to the object, or this is called anubhuta, or it is related to anubhava, experience? I'll give you an example so that it becomes easier. So the example comes ghatadehe. This is what our traditional example. So your memory can be related to ghata, the pot. So now the reflection of pot in your mind related to pot is one type of memory. Another type of memory is not directly related to the pot. You did not get that pot. So, anubhuta vishaya pradhana, anubhava pradhana. Can you see this point? So, you can use the word subjectivity, your need, or your, let us say, approach towards the anubhuta vishaya influences. So that means generally we look at memories are related to two. Now when these memories are related to two things, now we also need to be very careful that what does this memory do? So the job of the memory is just to reflect. And it is supposed to inform me, or you can say illumine me. But does it happen? More than informing, it creates a lot of other issues. Does it happen or not? In fact, when I think of memory, don't ask me. That's why we say very carefully, all the memories can be divided into three categories. So, how we say, then later on we'll be dividing in two categories, okay? Don't worry. Based on their gunas, let us say, based on the gunas, based on their impact they create, we can divide into three categories. So what are they? So there is, we say that Sukhatmaka one, second one is called Dukhatmaka, third one is called Mohatmaka. Sukha, Dukkha, okay, Sukham, Dukkham and Moham. Before talking these three aspects, because which is going to be talked in details in second chapter. Second chapter, Sutra number 3 is going to talk in details. We'll be seeing in details. But today also we'll discuss a little bit, okay? Just I am giving this based on. But when we look at the impact of memory, we divide into three based on their, you can say, gunas, qualities or functionings. But in short, we divide Smriti into two categories. So they are called here as Bhavita Smartabhya. Don't worry, okay? Bhavita Smartabhya. I am going to translate, okay? Don't worry. So, but it's very nice to understand this concept so that you can see how the memory functions. That's what is supposed to be looked at. And the second one is called Abhavita Smartabhya, just opposite of Bhavita. So now the question comes, what is this Bhavitam Smartabhya or Bhavitam Smartabhya iti? See, first of all, we need to understand here. Now whatever memory or impressions you say, now we say, when generally you would look at two things. The Smriti being reflection, being impression, it can be as it is. Jagrat Samay, during waking stage. So during waking stage, there is a memory. So that memory is good, absolute no problem. During dream, also memory. In fact, dream comes because of memory, unresolved memory. There what happens? There is some type of dilution or not. So you see your neighbor appears as an animal. But you appear as an angel, okay? You can say, Swamiji, please update your examples, okay? Neighbor is too far, okay? So in my house, I visualize somebody as an animal, okay? In my dream. However, so that memory also that you remember, and another one is called being remembered, if you want to put in English. And if you observe, when the impressions is being recollected, there is one type of impact. When the impressions comes back by itself, there is another type of impact. Is it clear? Now, if this is the job of the memory, now interestingly, this smruti, or you can say memory, or you can say these impressions, are connected to all other four, including memory. That's why smruti is the last vritti in Sutra. So first is what? Pramana. With pramana, smruti is connected or not? Whatever you experience, whatever you see, whatever you hear or taste, so that memory is there or not? So we say, in pramana, also smruti follows. Is it clear? Also, if you look at with reference to viparya, there is also smruti, especially disaster. Also, with reference to vikalpa, there is smruti. With reference to nidra, definitely smruti is there. That's why you wake up and say, I had a good sleep. We have seen in details. And also, on smruti, not in smruti, on smruti, there is smruti. Sitting on smruti, in English if you want to put, okay? So now what happens? Smruti is connected to all five vrittis. Is it clear? Now when the smruti is connected to all the five vrittis, now smruti plays a big role. In fact, whole life goes other way around because of mismanagement of smruti. If the smruti is not managed properly, starting from the childhood, so you go to play, so that is not being settled, while sitting in front of the book, think of playing, okay? Why did I become out? Especially Indian boys when they play, because I recollect now my memory, that's right, okay? Fellow threw the ball, cricket we used to play, okay? That fellow threw the ball was not right. That's why I was out. I would have played some more time. So you continue, while looking at the book, you continue where? In the playground, you understand? So that means what? Their memory was not managed properly. Yes, when I am in playground, at least I could have thought of, look, last time or yesterday, this boy threw the ball wrongly. I made a mistake also. Now let me rectify, let me play better way. Can you see this point? That is called managing the smruti. But what I do? I always mismanage my memory, starting from my childhood. Now question may arise. If this is the case, why do I mismanage my memory? So what could be the reason? It is, remember, neither in your hand nor in my hand. Because this is what the characteristics of the memory. That's why when you look at the characteristics or functioning of memory, it is divided into three categories that we discussed. Sukhatmakaha, Dukhatmakaha, and third one is called Mohatmakaha. So when it says Sukhatmakaha, so that means it is related to Sukham. So when it is related to Sukham, then it's interesting. Why should we bother? This is the problem. Because whatever is related to Sukham, happiness, comfort here, mainly, now you start running behind it. So where is Sukham, there is Ragam. Remember this point. Wherever there is Sukham, there is Ragam. And interestingly, Raga comes under klishta. Okay, is painful. Because once you start liking something, then what happens? You know better. The uncertainty keeps increasing. Does it happen or not? Wherever there is liking, there is at least uncertainty. And of course, if the liking is not addressed, not fulfilled, then what happens? You know better. So even if it is a sukhatmaka, in reality, it is painful or not? Because some people say, oh, it is sukhatmaka, why should we bother? And this is the problem. You look at as sukhatmaka. It is related to happiness, related to comfort, but in reality it is not. Number one. Number two is called dukhatmaka. So when it is related to dukkham, pain, there is some type of adversity. Now what happens? You want to again run behind that in the form of running away. Because running away is also running behind or not. That's why you know better. You may forget your friend, but you will never forget your enemy. You may forget the date of birth of your friend, but you will never forget the date of birth of your enemy. Does it happen or not? So remember this point, okay? I don't want to make a bad joke, but it will look nice. But still I can make, carefully, it's a very bad joke, okay? Please don't misunderstand. So always I say, do not. Somebody asked me, look, can you tell me in a relationship that same person can be like, in a relationship between two, can be best friend and best enemy? I said, it's a very simple relationship. That is called wife and husband. How? It's very simple. Every wife, almost, okay, some rare will be different, that is exceptional. Definitely they remember the birth date of man. And I am not telling you jokes. Almost every man, except few, there are exceptionals, okay? They never remember birth date of wife. Little bit joke, because long time I did not caught this joke. Okay, let me share very bad way today. Because today is somebody's marriage anniversary, so that's why this topic comes, okay? I am influenced, okay? So, the wife gets up. This is also another way of looking at it. Around 2 o'clock, okay? If it is before 12, something can be done, okay? After 12 o'clock. And wakes him up. Hey, get up. Do you know this neighbor? Yeah. So when did they come to stay, new neighbor? Such and such date. Do you know your office staffs and especially lady staffs? The telephone call came? Yes. What happened to that? Also fellow wakes up and talks all these things. Now, okay, do you know on which date maid servant came and which date did not come? Man says everything details. Then after that man gets confused. What happened? Do you know what was yesterday? This fellow becomes blank. And she says, yesterday was my birthday. And she wakes him up in the night 2 o'clock, you understand? But after birthday is over, okay? But waiting till the birthday to get over, okay? So joke apart, coming back to the point here. That here you remember your enemy better than your friend. Because of dvesha. So the dvesha plays a big role in my life. In fact, memory, if you look at most of the memory, is consumed by dvesha, like we have a virus attack in the computer. The RAM is more consumed by this virus attack. Have you not observed in the computing system? And the worst part is there are certain viruses. They get into operating system. Either does not start or hangs or gets into loop. I hope you understand what I am trying to say, okay? Once it gets into the boot system, there's a booting system, operating system. So you have to scan the boot. I hope, because those days, I remember those days, now it is outdated. So also, Dvesha especially works like what? Like memory affects in boot, in our operating system. That's why we say, a man of negativity will continue as negative. You give the best, the fellow will find out the worst. Because the system is already affected. That's why we say very carefully, if a person, this is called transactional knowledge, if a person's memory is too much dvesatmaka, better keep a safe distance. Unless you really not want to help, but unless you cannot live without that person because of your karmic problem. That's why you can see, especially all these psychologists, they get affected more when they do deal with their clients. Let us not get into, that is not our topic here. That's why I said it's a transactional knowledge. So that's why either my smriti is related to what? Sukham, or is related to dukham. And the third one is called mohatmakaha. So moha means delusion, related to avidya, related to ignorance. Because we'll be seeing raga, dvesha, avidya, asmita, abhinivesa. These 5 are called kleshas, 5 types of kleshas. That we'll be seeing, there is a sutra for this dedicated. So we'll be seeing in the 2nd chapter. Now, if this is the case, now what need to be done? So here he says, I need to do the nirodham. I need to stop my memories, in short, and connected to all other vrittis. Because memories are connected to all other vrittis. So that means when he says yogaha yogaha iti chitta vritti nirodhaha. So what is that vritti nirodhaha? All these 5 vrittis to be stopped. So why 5 vrittis to be stopped? Because all these vrittis are connected to what? Connected to either sukham or dukkham or moham. Is it clear? Now, this is technically some question may arise. Okay, this is a very technical question because I need to also little bit look at the technical aspect. Okay, I understand. When you say to do the nirodham, so to work on, to grow out of, to resolve or not to have all these memories, because after all they are, these 3 categories all are problematic. But now the question may arise that By removing all these vrittis, you get into asampragyata samadhi. Because you have some knowledge, okay? This is maybe your question, okay? Because you said yoga means samadhi. Yoga doesn't come the root from to unite. Now, while also talking in the beginning classes, you said there are two types of samadhi, which we'll be seeing in details, okay? One is sapragyata samadhi, other one is asampragyata samadhi. So, I understand that removing all the thoughts will lead to asampragyata samadhi, no problem. But there is also sampragyata samadhi. So, yoga means also sampragyata samadhi. Then how do you justify removing all these 5 thoughts, 5 vrittis, 5 mental modifications? Because in sampragyata samadhi, pratyaksha is being involved, pramana is involved. Because when you see the moon, you see the moonlight without anything. You see the moon without any modifications. So that means your eyes are being used. When you hear the sound of the Ganges, you hear, that is called sampragyata samadhi. You are, that means what? Dheya vastu. So dheya vastu means that is being seen, that is being observed, that is being dwelt. And the dhyata, the one who is dwelling upon, and dhyanam, the process, becomes one and same. That is called sampragyata samadhi. If that is the case, so whether you like it or not, there is a pramana is involved, eyes are involved, ears are involved, or you are sipping, drinking, that touch is involved. So how do you say this? Can you, this question, I hope this question you cannot think of, I am putting it a question, okay? This is the point to be understood very carefully. Generally, whenever we have this memory, always memory highlights on anubhava, not anubhuta. That's why in the beginning I brought this topic, okay? So anubhava and anubhuta means, anubhuta means the object, anubhava means experience. So all my memories are related to my anubhava. So because it is related to anubhava, that's why I have a lot of issues in my life, complications in my life. So I need to convert from anubhava to anubhuta. Is it clear? Now when I start doing these, now what happens? Definitely there in sampragyata samadhi, we say that dhyana, dhyata, dheyam. Or you can say the object that is seen, drishyam, drashta, the seer, and darshanam, the process of seeing, becomes one and same. And that is what we call sakshatkara. We use the word Brahma sakshatkara, Atma sakshatkara. So when this triputi, there is a word called triputi, remember this word. So this tri comes tri, dvanda and triputi. Okay, pairs of opposites and triputi. This triangle, you can say tri. This tri, when it becomes one, automatically you discover that how this really handles, so that it becomes your medium or means for asampragyata samadhi. That's why you say sampragyata samadhi leads to asampragyata samadhi. Okay. Is there any upaya? Is there any way to approach or to reach? Of course. So what could be the means. Let us read the next sutra. Abhyasa vairagyabhyam tannirodha. So, if we look at very carefully, now with the help of abhyasa and vairagya. So abhyasa means constantly practicing, and vairagya, seeing the limitations of insert dispassion. So with these two tools, with these two means, tan nirodha. So one can do the nirodham, one can really stop this chitta vritti. Now, how is it possible? Here we do talk very carefully, differently. In many occasions I have talked, whenever I talk about the mind, we say chittam is like a river, chitta nadi. And interestingly, chitta nadi ubhayata vahinihi iti. A river only keeps flowing in one direction, from up to down. Whereas this chitta nadi has got two types of movement. So top to down, top to bottom, up to down, like water keeps flowing, you can say convenient way. And from down to top, bottom to top, from lower end to upper end, that is inconvenient. But this mind does. So mind has got two types of movement. So one movement we call as sansara vahini, other one is called kalyana vahini. So one is towards samsara, other one is towards kalyana. So when it says called samsara vahini, it is very convenient. Like water keeps flowing from upper part to lower. Because the chittam, especially mainly memory, because we came to the memory now, keeps flowing conveniently. Now, when it keeps flowing conveniently, wherever it starts taking a turn, that's why in river we look at, interestingly, generally, if a river is flowing straight, that river we don't consider as that great. And interestingly, any part of the world, especially Indian context I am trying to say, because in India we don't look at river as ordinary river, we look at the divinity in river. When the river goes in a zigzag way, that river is considered more auspicious. Do you know why? Because in every bend, when the bend started, also till now you can look at, in every bend, the river tries to go up. That is how bend happens. If you look at how the bend happens, there was a block. And when the block was there was a rock. River could not penetrate, then try to go up. You understand? We'll create a whirlpool and water will try to go up. And it could not go up, then what happens? Finally, starts bending wherever soft soil is there, tries to go through that way. And that is what bend happens. That's why, especially when you see in Himalayas, you will see all the bend. In front of our place, there is a bend here, okay? That's why wherever there is a bend, and especially if you see the whirlpool, that place is called auspicious place. That's why in every auspicious place, if you see all these temples have come in auspicious place, especially either it is a Sangamasthanam, river meeting point, or on a bend. There is no other alternative. And I would like to say also, in our place we have a beautiful, I don't know how many of you have observed, there is a Nandi. So natural Nandi is available on Ganga. Especially from our place, if you see, like Nandi is as though looking at you. Very clear. Really something is very amazing to see here. So we need to really, something is there with us. We don't, any other people could have advertised like anything, you understand? Wow. Because why I am saying this thing? Remember, this was ashram long before. When Uttarakasi was not that popular or that, I would rather say that crowded, popular is the wrong word, that crowded. That time, this area was under one Swamiji. He had this ashram. So when he chose this place, definitely he must have seen many things. And unfortunately or fortunately, everything gone, and finally last person was left. That ashram was called Gokulananda Ashram. Finally, we took it over, okay? And interestingly, where I am now staying, let us say now where our class is going on, that was his residence. And all our place was his residence, Gosala, and cows were there, and Yagasala, where the rituals were done. And other places, whatever is sold, that was mainly gardens and some cottages. And one place was Lord Shiva's temple. Unfortunately, that is a big mess. Anyway, I just diverted topic. Here, we say the river becomes auspicious, or that place becomes auspicious in a river, where the river is trying to take upward movement, means tries to have two types of flow. Is it clear? Especially different flow. So also, this Chitta Nadi always keeps flowing towards samsara, which is natural. But whenever it tries to flow towards kalyanam, towards moksha, towards liberation, that becomes auspicious time for the person. Is it clear? So if you ask, when is your auspicious time? Whenever you start thinking of your kalyanam, not Tamil kalyanam, okay? So in Tamil, we have all the funny words, okay? Somebody said, yes, Swamiji, my auspicious time started when I was thinking of kalyanam, but not after kalyanam. So kalyanam means marriage, okay? In Tamil, okay? So as long as I was thinking of kalyanam, my life was beautiful. The moment I became Kalyani, means I got married, Kalyanam got over, don't ask me further, okay? That's why Swamiji, in fact, we are listening to you, okay? You should be grateful to us. Please don't allow others to listen to this talk, okay? Joke apart. So that becomes my auspicious time When my mind, especially chittas, smriti, does not go or flow in the direction of samsara, but it starts taking a turn towards moksha, towards liberation. And remember, when you look at this Chitta Nadi, when this river comes, it has to flow from up to down, from upper end to lower end. Now, how to turn it? Change the direction? It's not that easy. So, to change the direction, you need two things. One is called, first one we call as Vairagya. So Vairagya plays the role of bund. A dam, suppose you want to create a river, a dam, suppose you want to divert the water from a river, what do you do first? First, I would rather say simultaneously, not first and second, okay? A flowing river case, what they do is, very amazing thing they do it. While diverting the river, they create the dam. Have you not observed? Simultaneously, it will continue. So, dam is nothing. Creating a bondage, high end where water can be blocked. That is called Vairagyam. How? Simple thing. What is Vairagyam? Vairagyam is nothing. Seeing the limitations of Smriti here. Mainly, seeing the limitations of Smriti. And what sort of Smriti? Is it related to Anubhuta or Anubhava? Mainly Anubhava, not Anubhuta. So the more I see the limitations of my Smriti, that is related to my experience, Anubhava, not Anubhuta, not the object of experience. Now, what happens? The flow towards samsara will be reduced or not? The bond will be higher or not? But remember, if I do only practice Vairagyam, that's why I call practicing Vairagyam is not going to be helpful. I create a bond higher, but I do not do the diversion. Then what will happen? Flood will come. The bond will break. God knows what is going to happen. Disaster. That's why many yogis have, disaster. They had a disaster or they really have very tough time because of this reason. So simultaneously, diversion has to be created. So what is the diversion? Diversion we say with the help of Abhyasa spade. Because you need to have a spade, okay? Imagine, okay? You have to divert. Or this Abhyasa JCP nowadays, okay? All high-end machines, okay? Digging and whatnot. So you need that Abhyasa. So this Vairagya and Abhyasa must continue. That's why very nicely it is being said also that a bird to fly needs 2 wings. So also a sadhaka to survive in sadhana needs both Vairagyam and Abhyasam. If your sadhana is fluctuating, is not because of the surrounding, not because of anything or anybody, but because of what? This imbalance of Vairagya and Abhyasa. Suppose if Abhyasa is stronger, Vairagya is weaker. Or Vairagya is stronger, Abhyasa is weaker. It's like, when this flight or this thing, what do you call bird when it flies, suppose somebody hits one wing, what happens? How the bird starts behaving? Many people, Abhyasa follows like that. Have you not observed yourself too? That's why this Abhyasa Vairagya to be looked at in very careful way. We will be discussing in details in the next class how this Abhyasa Vairagyam plays important role in our life. Please. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.